Hello, beautiful ones. Welcome to Unicorn Light Tarot. For those of you who are just joining today, welcome, welcome, welcome. It's such an honor to have you here, and such an honor too for those of you who are returning. Thank you so much for being here. It's truly amazing to be able to read for you guys today. And not that the other readings weren't special, but this particular reading has a little bit more of my heart in it because I am using my own oracle cards as the base here, pile 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to be using these. I actually have I started off with 21 and then I went to 25. So I have 25 handmade oracles. We'll also be using other oracle cards and tarot cards too to help you with the reading, get some more information for you. I originally came up with the oracle cards because I have a book coming out later on. It will be How to Work Your Magic in 21 Days with the Unicorns. That will be out later on this year. So I wanted to make an oracle deck, at least just to just to use in the channel and just to have some fun with it. Probably this particular oracle set will not be available with the book, but I am working on one a little bit later on down the road. But I wanted to share this oracle with you guys. I definitely channeled it. I love this oracle deck. I think it's got some great energy. So hopefully we will get you some, not hopefully we will. Let's think positive, 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 or get you some amazing, amazing messages for you today. So with everything that's going on, I hope everybody's staying safe and sane and doing what they can every day, and remembering that whatever it is that you're up to and can do at that moment is absolutely and perfectly fine. There is no right and wrong way to get through whatever it is that Mother Nature is putting us through right now. But on top of all of that, my goodness, we also are directly in retrograde season, and we will be for the next 5 months. So there's a lot going on. We also have a couple of eclipses coming in this year too, just in case, you didn't have enough on your plate. But it's a great time for transformation in the next 5 to 6 months. Venus is actually already in retrograde. That's a shorter one from May to June. So it's already in retrograde, but it will go direct in June. Then we have Jupiter, which is a really, really big one. I think that goes direct first week, maybe October 4th, I think. But that went retrograde May 14th. We have Saturn May 11th that went retrograde. Uranus was already in retrograde. It started in January. And Neptune was also in retrograde, started in January also. And Pluto went retrograde last month in April. And then, of course, we have our beautiful Mercury in retrograde, which is what a lot of people consider to be a little bit of a trying time for those 3.5 weeks. And that's going to be coming in June 18th of this year, 2020. But there's a great time for transformation in this. A lot of old energy might be coming up, but it's not for us to really get involved or engage with the energy. It's a time to really take that energy and transform, and really for the first time start working in a completely different way. So let's get some information for you. As always in Unicorn Light Tarot, we're hoping to get you some practical information that you can actually apply to your life in tangible form. We're always looking for messages that resonate with you at the actual time, which is right now, of course. Only high frequency messages of love and light. So we have 3 piles today of these homemade oracle cards. The first one is the butterfly. The second one, we have this really pretty, I love this. I never wear it, but I really love it. It says blessed be, and it's got the mark of the goddess here. We have this, I was going to say necklace, but it's not. What is it? Bracelet. My goodness, couldn't think of the word. So that's pile 2. And then we have ladybug. I have a lot of ladybugs around me at the time in my house, in and around me. So I thought we would use ladybug as a transformational. So we're looking for transformational energy, what's coming up for you in the next 5 months, what to expect, how to deal with the energy coming up and in, and, some really great tips on how to be your best self. So as always, we're just gonna take a deep breath. Please take as much time as you possibly need, as always, to figure out which pile is calling your name. And if you feel as though there's more than one pile that you need to, that you're resonating with, then of course there's no right or wrong way to do anything in life. And anybody that tells you differently, don't agree with that. Absolutely do your own thing, but the piles will be timestamped down below as always. So let's go ahead and move forward. Oh yeah, I try to remember to do this, but it's always great to get a like and a subscribe at some point if you feel as though this is energy that you would like in your life as you move forward. So that would be wonderful. And yeah, let's move right into the reading. So I'm going to move this aside for now, and we will come back to these pile 1 and pile 2. So for those of you who chose pile 1 and this beautiful butterfly, which is obviously the ultimate transformations, for those of you already picking up on, for those of you who chose pile 1, we're just going to put that little butterfly there. Already in the midst of the transformation, and maybe this lockdown period was a time for you to sort of really solidify what it is that you were working on. And I do feel as though you're coming out of that and now sort of coming out into the transformational, moving out into the world. So this is going to be an exciting time for you, like brand new beginnings, and let's find out what they are. So, and these are the homemade oracles. Like I said, they all go up to 25, but the 10 and the 1 and the 0 can be used too, and the 6. So if the numbers mean something to you, that's also something to be cognizant of too. So your first one says, standing in your power takes great courage. Let your ancestors carry you into said power. That's your first one of your homemade oracle. Create your life through words. The more gorgeous your words, the more beautiful your life becomes. And again, number 6. So the first thing I'm picking up on pile 1 is that, yeah, absolutely, you've come out of the cocoon period and you're ready to go out there. Now you might feel a little like everything's sort of brand new. You've had so many, they weren't false starts. There was so many little new beginnings. This is a brand new beginning for you. So you might feel a little shaky because a lot of the stuff that you've just gone through with this huge transformational energy that you've just come on the other side of, sort of like a wind tunnel. You've come out, you're a little bit windswept, and you realize ultimately that, the coping mechanisms of what you used before no longer work for you, and you're happy to move into the brand new, but it's all brand new for you. So we're going to get you excited about the brand new. And standing in your own power, absolutely. For those of you who are truly independent and have always done things your own way, carry on. 2 thumbs up for that. But again, it's really about, with this brand new beginning, you're really asked to connect in spirit. Not necessarily in a new way, but constantly. I feel as though there's this in and out for you when you come in with spirit. And there are certain times when, things are going well and you don't connect as well. So there might be some sort of ritual or whatever it is that you need to do to connect to spirit on a day-to-day basis constantly. Remember, you're not alone. The way in which you work in the world will be will work slightly differently now. I feel as though a lot of you have been working on so much for yourself that, you've healed so many bloodlines within your family unit all the way back. So asking for help for your ancestors as well as spirit guides give you that strength to really stand in who you are. I feel as though you've always tried to sort of, maybe some of you were the black sheep in the family, or you did things a little or considered, right? Or you were so independent, you sort of broke off from the family unit a little bit. And either way, you've done things on your own. You've connected, you maybe had to sort of pull away from the family to figure out who you were, maybe in spite of them. But you don't need to do any of that anymore. Now, I'm not suggesting if any of these were unhealthy relationships to run back to them, but ancestor wise, you're not asked to be doing this on your own now. You can literally lean back. I just got this vision of you leaning back into sort of the arms of your ancestors. So if it's not like, for those of you who are working tangibly to heal the lines that you have, or whatever you've had with your family, your living family, now that you've worked on yourself and you've excreted yourself, or whatever that word is, you've moved yourself out of that unit so you could heal on your own terms, and all of that is fine. If you're not physically moving toward them to go ahead and make alliances with them again, then alliances can come from, again, your family line, who realize your courage and what it is that you've needed to do. And again, you may have needed to do that in the past to be ultra independent and to pull away from to some of that energy so you could cure yourself, like cure. But you don't need to do any of this work on your own. All of this work now is in alignment with the way in which you will work with spirit now, again, in a greater way. Now, the way in which you will work with your psyche is in a greater way too. You've been very hard on yourself, and the language that you use with yourself can get beautiful and very creative. You're very aware of how you speak to yourself, and you are working on changing that. But there's a part of you that's waiting for the other shoe to drop, and you've hidden that a little bit in the idea of being like, not a pessimist. I feel as though you're very optimistic by nature, but just because what it is, you allow absolutely everything in, which has gone against you sometimes because you're an empath. But you're actually very easygoing. You really do allow for the flow to come in. But what happens with that is that when you put your intention out, part of that, when you're trying to be open to every outcome, one of the outcomes is that you might not get it. So because you're so open, because you go with the flow so much, that becomes part of what, the energy that you're putting out there. But so one of the ways that, and you are going to be working in many different tangible ways in the universe right now to manifest and have the life that you want. One of the things that you're being asked to do that's brand new is to rein in your energy a little bit. When you put out your energy, only focus on what you want. Now, people say that, but what you do is you allow every outcome to happen in your mind. And then, of course, you give equal space to every outcome because, you want to do that for everybody and everything. But, they're asking you to be far more discerning now. You don't need to do that anymore. And you have learned boundaries. You do know what boundaries are. You've had to learn them the bad way. You've had to learn them the hard way in many ways because of people taking advantage, in the way in which you've worked with your energy. It really does deplete you. When you've gone into like a room, you can actually get quite sick if somebody is sort of giving you the evil eye. But now, you're standing in your own courage. You're standing in your own autonomy now. And it's okay to protect yourself and shield yourself. And one of the ways that you can shield yourself in a tangible, practical way of moving forward in the world is not allowing no for an answer. When you've asked for something, this is what you want. Now, understand that the universe is going to give it to you in a very specific way, and it may not look the way that you might even get something more. So you let it go a little bit. You don't have to hold on to how you're going to get it or what it's going to look like, but you don't have to take no for an answer. This is what I want. If it's coming from your heart, and if you're confused about what it is that you feel as though you want to ask for, you can always say, what is for, using my gifts for the highest of all, for the highest of this planet, what am I supposed to do? What is it that's in an alignment with who I am and what it is I'm supposed to do in this lifetime? And if what you've asked for is in alignment and you believe that and you match that frequency, you will get it. There's no way that you need to hold on to this idea of letting every discernible, outcome come in. You just don't need to do that anymore. You just need to trust that with your ancestors and everybody working with you, and this new energy that's holding you up in a brand new way. You know, the way in which you're working, the way in which you're seeing your life is absolutely brand new. You are enough. You deserve what it is that you have asked for. And not only that, you've put in the time and the hours. You really have, in order to be able to be ready to receive. So this is your receiving end of everything that's going on. So I'm using these cards. I'm just saying true love cards. So let's find out what we have for love for you coming in. So these two are just sort of a what would I say? Sort of a foundation of what to be working on, or how to move forward in the next 5 months. But your love for the next 5 months, let's see what messages we get for that. I'm feeling this one for you. All right, life purpose. Yes, that is absolutely brilliant. So for your love, life purpose here. Yes, you are ready to step into your power and express it in a brand new way with everything that you've been working on. So again, if you're feeling a little shaky right now, that's okay. Feel shaky. This is absolutely brand new for you. That's why when you connect with your spirit guides, absolutely, just to recap, every day you're not doing this on your own anymore, and really release and relax into ancestor energy, because that courage will make you as strong as a trunk of a tree. And then the way in which you're putting out your energy now will be absolutely clear. Now, you have the most incredible strength and ironclad will, which you have used against yourself sometimes, pile one. But I will tell you something, your version of what it is that you want is not always filled with clarity, because you'll put it out there and then you'll be like, oh, it hasn't come in yet. You'll be checking your phone, 30 seconds later. You don't give it room. You don't give it space. You don't have that faith. And you always feel as though you need to sort of, at times, micromanage. Now, this is the old you. You're not doing that anymore. But your life purposes, for those of you who are like, I don't really know what I want, you actually do. And this cocoon period of time that you've just gone through, you absolutely know clarity, what it is that you want. You've not always asked for it. You've asked for deviations of what it is that you want. You're being asked to step into your power. Ask for whatever it is that you want. Only allow the energy to focus on just what you want. Again, you don't have to let everything in, every possible outcome. Use that creativity, use that imagination, which is vast for your creative process. Most of you are creative, or have a creative line. Your imagination is absolutely flawless. I mean, you can imagine that the earth is like crumbling into a billion pieces, and within 30 seconds your body believes it. I mean, that's how powerful your imagination is. Could you imagine if you applied it to all the things, great things that could happen in your life, instead of using it against you? Can you imagine how much power you would have? Well, don't imagine it. I mean, do imagine it, because it's happening. That's your life purpose, getting right in there with the clarity. That's exactly what you're going to be doing. So we're going to check in with your emotionality now. So your emotionality is right here. So your emotionality over the next 5 months. Okay, protection. My goodness, could we have asked for a better card for you? Yes, protection, protection, protection. That's what you have. You cannot go wrong in your endeavors. Now, as a reminder, you're being told that this is your life purpose. This is something that this is the life that you've always wanted. You absolutely can get. All you have to do is get out of your own way and trust. Trust that you're good enough, trust that you've done enough work, and allow things to happen. Your 2 words for the next 5 months are protection and allow. The only reason why you haven't there's two reasons why you haven't gotten what you've wanted. You've blocked your own way and timing. Certain things needed to come into play. Certain timelines needed to play out for you in order to achieve what it is that you wanted to achieve. Because if you'd achieved it too early, it wouldn't have meant much to you. It actually would have been far more stressful for you than you could have possibly imagined. You may have crumbled under some of the work that you were doing, some of the spiritual work. That's all gone now. That's all gone. You are ready. You are ready for this brand new beginning. So the timelines have played out. You're ready for this. And if this is resonating with you, Pal One, you will feel that you are absolutely ready. So if you have the protection, then you have the faith. You absolutely know that what you've asked for will come to fruition, and very, very quickly. You're not working in the same way. You've honed in on the timelines. You can literally in seconds manifest what it is that you want. Now, there's several practical ways that you can do this. I've just done this recently, and I'm a visual person, so I'm like, I don't need to do this, but I did it and I love it. Make a vision board. Absolutely everything that you want on there. You can take a picture of it and then put it on screensaver, either on your computer or on your phone, so you see it all the time, or put it somewhere where you can reflect on it all the time. That everything on that vision board is exactly what you want. You should only be concentrating what is on that vision board. And for those of you who are going, I don't exactly know what I want, you can make it ambiguous. Absolutely make it ambiguous. But for the specific stuff that you want, absolutely put that up too, you know? And that's what it is. I mean, you were asking for whatever it is that you want, but there is some room for the specifics of what it'll look like. Let spirit do its job. But you know enough and you have enough information about what it is that you want to make an amazing board here, vision board. So that's one practical thing that you can do to sort of move forward on this. And again, it will train your mind and keep your mind really where it needs to be. It absolutely needs to be just focusing on what it is that you want. Now, you're going to go backwards and forwards on this because you're still a little shaky, and that's okay. But trust yourself as you move forward, because you always want to put the spanner in the works just a little bit, because your pragmatic mind comes in there. Yeah, but what if? We should be preparing for everything, including just in case you don't want it. You know, so if the practical mind still keeps coming in there, that's fine. Let it do it. But then, you know, bring yourself back. That's not what we're doing anymore. Remember, you're working in brand new ways. So connection with your spirituality over the next 5 months too. Let us go ahead. And this one's calling to me. This is it. Cracked open. Rock bottom, surrender to the alchemy of life. Now, this is a beautiful card here too. This is a beautiful card here for you. I know that you've just been through this incredible transformation. And I know that if you are feeling a little bit shaky, you know, and some of the process of cracking open has been a little bit difficult for you. But it was all necessary for you to move forward. And I promise you that icky stuff is going to move through. We just had, I think it was the new moon in Scorpio. Man, that was bringing up the lower self and the higher self, and all that lower stuff was coming up to show you what was really controlling the subconscious. You know, some stuff may have come up from years that you thought you had gotten rid of, and you're like, where the hell is this going? And it was just really, really strong. That Scorpio energy is just letting you know it's ready to be transformed, and it is not afraid to get down and dirty and let you know all that stuff. But you know what? Being cracked open may feel uncomfortable, but you are an alchemist. You are here to transform. If you're in the crux of going through this and coming out into the transformational energy of what we were just talking about in the first part of the reading, then I promise you, you're coming into this new platform where fear just is not something that's going to rule your life or walk with you. I feel like for many, many of you, fear was something you almost work with fear as your friend. Some of you may even have used fear as a motivator. Now, far be it from me to tell you how to live your life. I've certainly done that before. Is it the most productive way? It's all I knew at the time. And in some ways, it made me fearless, and in some ways, it made me careless. But I feel as though you're not asked to work with fear anymore. It's very good to have a relationship with fear, get behind it, utilize it, find out how it works. That's fine. That's the way that I've done it. But you're not being asked to do that anymore. So, for those of you who have walked with fear before and have somehow made friends with it, or at least gotten familiar with it, what's going on for your transformation specifically is that you are transforming that fear into brightness and light. You're no longer being asked to work with fear in that way. Now, that's not to say that fear is not around. That's not to say that you'll never encounter fear. But when you do, the process of how you work with it will be very different from now on in. So while this fear is in the catalyst process of moving forward, this kinetic energy of transforming, it can feel like hell. So if you're in that process, right in that process right now, sending so much love and light to you, Pal One. I really, really, really am. But I promise you, it will not last. And for those of you who have worked with, the essence of fear before, and you've stayed in that dark place for a little bit longer, that's not what we're doing here. That's not what you're doing here. Remember, you have that protection. If you're having like a day of like, I promise you, the next day you will be able to get some space from it. You are achieving a new relationship with fear, and that new relationship, again, is that transformational energy of moving into this brand new way. So when you are working with fear, remember, use your words, descriptive, creative words. If I am enough is not enough for you to say, because when you're in that fearful mind, your mind doesn't believe it, then you use words that your mind will believe. I am exquisite. I am gorgeous. I have a huge belief in eternity. Use the words that really hit home for you, and those words will absolutely hit with your soul. And remember, creating a new dialogue with new beautiful words, with creativity, will really hone in on the protection that you have, and you will be able to move into this brand new platform from which you will be changing your life. So whichever stage you're in, the catalyst stage, moving into coming out of that feeling a little bit shaky, coming out of the shaky stage, knowing that you're going into this brand new way of being, and using that practical advice of, I was going to say the spirit board, go be you, if that's the way you're going to do it, but the vision board, and moving into the energy of the creativity, working with your ancestors, building that new courage moving forward. Whichever stage you're in, it will work out in your favor. Everything is going well. This is a huge transformational time for you for the next 5 months. So look after you. A lot of self-care. Always put your energy first. It sounds counterintuitive, especially if you have kids or dependents, but I promise you, you cannot pour from an empty cup. I know it's one of those cliched things. What does that really mean? For those of you, you do know what that means. Pour from your own cup first. Make sure that you have enough time for you. Put yourself and your energy first, especially now while you're cocooning and going through this incredible transformation, whereby you will manifest what it is, your life purpose. I mean, it's right here. Your heart's desire is right here, and you will be able to achieve it now with this new feats of moving into your own luminosity in your own world, and using your own courage and doing this on your own terms. I feel the way in which you did it before, again, slightly compromised, but no more. So this is an incredible time for you, Pile One. Do let me know in the comments if this resonated with you. Feel free to give me a thumbs up and subscribe. I always love hearing from you guys. I absolutely, absolutely do. I am loving up on you so much. I'm sending you so much love and light. Until we meet again, Pile One, take care. Bye-bye. Okay, my lovelies, if you chose Pile 2, this is yours, the Blessed Be, connection to Mother Gaia herself, and the completion of who it is you truly are, and the process of opening and widening your heart for understanding love and light on all levels. I got this Again, these are always general readings, and we try to give you as many messages as we can out there. But, for those of you who are coming into channeling and for star seeds, light language, working with new guides and new information, a lot of activation for you that's been going on, sending so much love and light to you. Let's see. Okay, so your 2 oracle cards, which will be your sort of platform to start off with. There are no mischances. You can begin again, brand new, with who you are now at this very moment. And again, either a 2 or a 0 or 20. So that's what's going on. Your true gift can never be measured. So measuring yourself against another will only make your soul bleed. Now, this sounds pretty intense, but let me explain this. When we do not, and again, this is the 22, so this is 2-2. So there's a couple different things going on here. First of all, stop being hard on yourself. There was a little bit of that on pile 1, but pile 2, there's this real energy of coming into your heart space and like not having enough time, getting confused with timelines, not having enough time to get everything done, taking too long, things not moving too quickly. Understanding that they're not moving quickly, really understanding that on a etheric level or esoteric level, and then at the same time getting impatient with yourself. And then comparing yourself to others who were doing other things. First of all, obviously your journey is completely different. But I'm going to tell you something specifically with you, pile 2. What it is that you are going to achieve in this lifetime is great. And it requires a solidification of all of your past lives and all of the knowledge and wisdom that you had. And that's what you've been acquiring. I can see you as little fairies going into all your past lives, especially in the last month or 2, gathering all that beautiful wisdom and putting it all together and allowing that wisdom sort of flow through your veins. So what it is that you're doing, your timeline was always going to be a little bit later because there was so much work for you to do. But when you rise, you will rise. And it is your time to rise. So, but you're always so hard on yourself. And even when you give yourself a compliment, I feel as though you can backtrack that quite quickly. You'll give yourself a compliment, but then you'll put yourself in your place a little bit, or you'll feel really good about yourself. And then half an hour later, you'll see somebody on Instagram and go, why aren't I doing that? So I feel as though your own journey, honor your own journey. It's really unique and not what other people will be doing. And just because you're on your own journey and you're not quite seeing where it is that you want to be right now, don't be hard on yourself. And when it says your soul bleeding, all of these webs that you have here, there's so many different things that you're working on that are working behind the scenes that you cannot even know what's coming for you in such a great way. So you just have to sort of let go and trust and release. And also the other thing is that, when you're building yourself up and you compare yourself to somebody else, it really does chip away at you. And that's why I say making your soul bleed. It sounds really intense, but I want you to know just how much that hurts your soul. And I feel as though if you knew how much it hurt your soul, you really wouldn't do it. When we're negative or we have a negative thought about ourselves, we often don't realize how detrimental it really is. Now, I don't want you to focus on the detrimental part of it. So if it happens, you're like, oh my God, what am I doing to myself? No, that's not what we're doing. But to understand when that thought comes in, we can definitely pillow it up, just see it with a lot of pillows and feathers and say, you know what, I totally understand that you're thinking this right now. I can totally understand that this is coming from an old thought pattern, but we want to send love and light to it. And that's the way to cut it off immediately. The other thing is you have something in similar with pile 1 also is that you like to see a thought out to the very end, even if it's negative. And this is sometimes you've gone round and round and round in your mind. You're not being asked to do that anymore. And this is another thing. There are no mischances. You can begin again brand new with who you are in this very moment. this understanding of timelines and time is very different for you now. You really do understand. You're able to look back on, particularly in the last 18 months, I would say, and see all the different people that you've become. I saw a quote somewhere and I thought it was brilliant. And of course I'm paraphrasing because I don't know it. I don't know it exactly. I wish I had it here, but I might have used it before, but it's like, if you were not ashamed of the person that you were a year ago, you could be doing more work on yourself. Now, we don't really need to like put any more pressure on ourselves to transform. But for those of you who are already feeling a little like, I can't believe I behaved like that, or I can't believe that I've done that, that's good for you. That's good for you. For those of you who don't feel that way already, fantastic. Go be you. But I can certainly look back on like 3 years ago and this, that, and the other, and like absolutely cringe. I've been doing that in the last week. But that is just a manifestation of who you have become. And that's fantastic. You weren't who you were a week ago. You weren't who you weren't a second ago. And this is just a reminder that you can change your life. You really absolutely can change your life in any given moment, at any given time. You absolutely can. There is a brand new version of you in every breath. So these go together beautifully. So remember, you are moving into this brand new beginning of being yourself and connecting to yourself. And again, this is something that came up for pile 1 too. You might want to go back and check pile 1. You may not. If it resonates, it resonates. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But your connection specifically with yourself, not just your spirit guides or Mother Nature or Gaia, but it's a reflection of who you are and who you are becoming. And leaving behind the old remnants. I just got this really sort of, these are very intense sort of images that I'm getting for you. So you're a very intense person, which is really great. But like a graveyard, like, there's been a death of sorts of who you are and moving into a brand new version of yourself, and not to keep digging up the grave. Again, very, very strange. Don't usually get like things about graveyards or things like that, but it just shows you how much work that you've done. And when you go back and think about comparing yourself to another, doing all of this, or being hard on yourself, you're not allowing your beautiful spirit to move forward. You're putting up some blocks there, like a few gates. Might take you a little bit longer to get to where you're going, and it doesn't really need to. The other thing it does is it blocks your foresight. You actually have an incredible intuition. If you live by your heart and you really live connected to spirit, which is absolutely something that you are working toward, I mean, in every second, every minute of the day, then you absolutely know how things are going to happen. Maybe not the specifics of things, but you absolutely have an inkling of things. So if you live in this way, then there's no reason for you to doubt. There's no reason for you to compare. It's happening, right? So the minute you do that, what you do is you just sort of, you put a little bit of a protection around what it is that you want. And there's no reason for that protection. If you let it flow, it comes in quicker. So that's just a little extra help for you. Now the 2-2 I'm getting, we're going to give you some love advice here. I feel as though there's love coming in, or there's a question mark on the sort of the head on somebody, above the head on somebody that you have your eye on, or the energy of somebody coming in. So let's just see where we are here. Creativity. Okay. So creativity, I feel as though for you, maybe there's somebody that you are attracted to and there is a chance to work with them. Now, I don't know how everybody is on lockdown, but there's many different ways of working with people. Or maybe you're attracted to somebody that you've opened up a creative relationship with, or something like that. But I do feel as though this version of creativity here, or just following your heart in a creative means, brings you to your significant other. I really don't like that, significant other. Brings you to, a sort of a soulmate relationship. So this person is very much on the horizon, and it's nobody like you have met before. So you're already creative, this we know, yes, but it's a physical transformation, or a physical sort of project that you're working on that will bring in the energy of somebody else. And now this person may be already somewhat established in whatever it is that they are doing, but what it is that you can bring to the table is just as important. And I feel as though this is definitely a love connection coming in. And this is very much a meeting of the minds. And for those of you who are, have already met this person and are very attracted to this person's mind, but not sure about it, give it some time. It'll all sort of transmute the way that it's supposed to. But yeah, I feel as though in the next 5 months, because this is, these are your root foundations of how we want you to move away and move forward. But creativity is bringing you in love. And this kind of love is actually, a sort of not one of a kind. I feel as though for some of you who have had either this beautiful love in your life, but you've not been able to keep it. They've moved away, they've moved on in many different ways. Or you've not had this kind of love at all, or you've not had this love in a really long time. This is a brand new meeting of the minds. It's sort of an intellectual love, sexual, everything. Sort of ticks off every box. I feel as though in the past you've taken in some energy and you're like, oh, he's great. This person's, or this, he, she, or however you identify. This person's great in this way, not so great in that way, but I love this about them. But there's not going to be any kind of compromise, which is really beautiful with this. So the next 5 months is going to bring this energy in. So just keep up with this creativity, not being hard on yourself, allowing all of this to manifest beautifully. Resilience, yes, absolutely. I'm feeling another one for you too. Let's do this one. Protection, that did come up with pile 1 too. So with the resilience, for those of you who feel as though, oh my goodness, yeah, the 21, 2, 3 partnerships coming in, not just partnerships, working in a group that would lead to something else. But just sort of a brand new chapter of love and light and joy and beauty. I am definitely feeling that for you. The joy coming back in, working with people who appreciate who you are, working, for those of you who have worked in that way, but not worked sort of with the numbers, or not as you've worked in close groups, getting out there and working a little bit differently, really feeling that protection to sort of allow your wings to sort of like really sort of get out there and fly. A lot of you are coming up with some really great ideas that are just seemingly sort of out of nowhere, and that, this real kinetic energy, and you're working on them and you're doing them, and they're wonderful, and they just came out of nowhere and they're really serving their purpose. Cracked open, yes. If you're feeling it, go back and go into the reading of pile 1. These are very similar. I feel as though cracked open and protection came in too. So this is, I'm also being drawn to one more. So yeah, allow yourself. For those of you who have felt the transformation, there's slightly different energy. Jump in. Okay, I was just about to say. So let me just finish off my sentence here before we move on to this card. The difference between the energy in pile 1 and pile 2 is that they were feeling cracked open, and this, the transformational energy was happening. For you, I feel as an essence of pile 2, you're trying to control it a little bit. As you are being cracked open, but there's a part of you that's like, oh my goodness, I don't really want to do this now. Whether it's subconscious or you're fully aware that you're trying to keep it together, maybe you're not in a position to sort of crack open right now, or you're wondering, if you'll be able to get back up. Yes, you will. And it's not the cracking open that you think. You've done so much work already. It's a brief crack open, so you can be released and come into a sort of a brand new version of yourself. You are transforming. You are alchemists. You've been leading up to this one moment. But for those of you who are realizing that this energy is transpiring, but you're trying to sort of put it into this neat little package or the shell and somewhat controlling it a little bit, release and really let it happen. Jump in We've got this beautiful energy coming in, adventure, say yes to the change. So it's just allowing this to happen and trust that. Now, there were times before when you really opened up, you did go deep and you did go dark, and it did take a while to get back up. This is not what's happening. Trust that all the work that you've done before, this is really a different kind of cracking open. When you're cracking open, what you're doing is sort of releasing everything. Sort of Pandora's box, right? You're releasing absolutely everything. That's probably not the best way to do it, because it released sorrow and everything else out into the world, but hope is at the bottom. But if you see Pandora's box as you, and what you're doing is when you open the box, you're releasing everything very, very, very quickly. None of that is going to stay. And at the bottom is not just hope, but it's your core of who you are and what it is that you want. Now, all of that that's going out into the world is actually an alchemical process. It won't stay. You're transmuting and you're transforming that energy. But see yourself as that box. As you open it, it's going to be released immediately. It's not there for you to muddle through and figure out and X, Y, and Z. Not at all. It's just for you to allow yourself to all of the work that you've done to release finally. And yes, you have had a lot of resilience. And yes, you've gone through this process many times. Maybe for some of you in pile 2, you're not trusting that this is the brand new beginning that you've always wanted. You've had many, many little deaths. You've had many, many little deaths of coming into a brand new beginning. But this is a brand new beginning of what it is that you want. This person coming in is absolutely brand new and is a signifier of your new energy and what it is that you want. The way in which you will work in the world is brand new. For those of you who are activating and activated light codes coming in, you've had activation symptoms too. So maybe on top of that, it's been, cracking open might seem like a really big task right now. But trust me, you're being supported. You're being protected. You can absolutely do this. Keep your energy high by understanding that your uniqueness has one path in this lifetime. Do not compare yourself to anybody else, and do not look back. This is not about looking back anymore. And if you do, make sure you come out of it so there's no emotionality attached to it anymore. Go back with intent and purpose and say, I am doing this to forgive so I can move forward. Again, the forgiveness is so you can move on. It's not excusing anybody else's behavior, not at all. But don't pull yourself into these old narratives. That's not who you are anymore. You're beyond narratives. You're beyond these labels. You're beyond what it is that you used before to get you through. You're beyond that. You've been activated. For those of you who are even seeing colors brighter or things out of the corner of your eyes, or again, at the corner of your eye, or getting in touch with light language and things like that. That's because your frequency is getting higher. That's why it's important not to stay in the old or look back or compare yourself. Keep the frequency higher. Again, nothing will do more to chip away at your soul than you being hard on yourself. Yeah, this beautiful light and love is coming in. This new creative project coming in. This brand new way of being is coming in. This new activation brings you up to new levels of heights that you've never, ever been at and never imagined before. And in fact, the way in which you were healing before, you would not have been able to understand or really tangibly explain or feel this kind of level of where you're at. Like I said, your DNA is shifting. Everything is shifting. The way in which you ground your connection to spirit is completely different. All of this is absolutely beautiful. Your connection to Mother Gaia, going in and bringing in all of that wisdom from your past lives, is absolutely gorgeous at this time. Trust in that. So good stuff for you. Taking your gift to the next level, creativity, bringing in that new love. Do let me know in the comments if this resonated with you. Sending so much love and light and compassion to you. Feel free to give me a thumbs up and of course subscribe. I would love to have you. Sending so much love, really loving up on you, loving energy. Take care of yourself. And until we meet again, bye-bye. My lovelies, if you chose pile 3, then these are your oracle cards, your oracle reading. So the beautiful, bringing beauty into everything and pure self-acceptance on every level, new heights of self-acceptance for those of you who chose pile 3, and this beautiful ladybug symbol. So what we will be doing, these handmade, handcrafted by my own fair hand, fair as in fair, fair as in fair. And I always love the justice card, so I always bring that up. So these cards will be the sort of foundational advice for the next 5 months. The best things are revealed after we realize their worth. See worth in everyone, everything, and you will live your best life. And again, the numbers are either 1 and 5, which obviously 15, or 1 and 5 to the 6. So coming into sort of a family collective, a collective energy. Let the releasing begin. Nothing that was meant for you disappears. You can never be left behind. And again, number 9 here, there. So there's a few things coming into your new energy in the next 5 months, but it's really about reconciling some stuff for you, pile 3. There's a lot of great energy. There's a lot of moving forward. There's a lot of excitement. It's like darting around, new energy. The way in which you've been working with your energy is brand new. You've been healing up nicely. For those of you who are star seeds and light workers, you know, your DNA is shifting. You've been healing. You may have had some old stuff that's come up, but you are healing. So your energy is completely different. Your cycles might be a little bit off if you're a female, or, you know, your menstrual cycle. You know, again, this is very specific, and these are general readings, but your cycles might be off, quote unquote, but they're realigning. You're realigning for your new life. Everything is brand new. You've got that kind of like, oh my goodness, you know. And sometimes I feel like you do go back to the old a little bit. You know, some of that old stuff sort of seeps in, but you're conscious of it. And where it would have gotten you down before, you know, it doesn't last as long. You're conscious of it. Give yourself some room and a break. These activations are amazing, but they're not instantaneous. They take a while to really integrate into your subconscious and on every level. So if the old stuff comes up, just allow it. But this releasing is absolutely beautiful. You're really understanding and looking back on your life and realizing that a lot of what you thought you wanted and didn't come to fruition, you're really happy about. And there's other things that, you know, you look back and you go, oh, I could have done it that way. You're trying on these different ways. What would have happened, you know, if I did that? You're doing all of that. There's nothing wrong with that as long as you're not living in the past. But I don't feel as though you are. For those of you, again, this is a general reading. For those of you who are like, oh my goodness, I'm only just coming into myself, you know, were there ways that I could have made this quicker? Were there ways that I could have done this to get there, you know, this, that, and the other? No, your timing is unique. The way in which you're moving in this world is unique. You have a unique timeline. And for those of you who are just looking back and just like, oh, I wish that person was still here, or this, that, and the other, you know, move yourself from the sense of regret and just come to the other side of, I'm glad I had them for that amount of time. Looking back on friendships and things that don't work. Looking back on the broken and really seeing the sort of beauty and the wisdom from all of that. And again, I feel as though that reflection that you're putting upon your life is coming back on a very sort of personal level. So as long as you're, you know, not being hard on yourself, which is definitely the message for both pile 1 and pile 2 a little bit, but a reminder, and I feel like we all need that, especially at this time, just a reminder not to be hard on yourself. Definitely don't compare yourself to what other people are doing. But this is your time to do things. Every time is your time to do things your own way, but particularly now, we cannot possibly compare ourselves to other things. Some people are learning new languages, good for them. I walk into a room and can't remember why I'm there. Not a good time for me to learn Portuguese, but you know, if it is for you, go be you, go be your best self. You know, just allow this time frame for the next 5 months to really reveal what it is that you want. And if that means looking back and taking the wisdom out of everything that you've done and having this real reflective period, but seeing the beauty and seeing, even in the darkness, what it brought you and how much stronger you are for it. And here too, remembering on a personal level that, everything and everyone has worth, even though it can be hard to admit that. Even though some people have treated you badly, they still deserve some worth. Now, they don't necessarily are not worth your time. Definitely not. Boundaries, 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 especially with you, Pile 3, because you have such tender and beautiful heart. You're also working on healing your heart space in a really profound way. So there's a shield up for now for things that are going on while your heart is expanding. Now, you don't need, the boundaries, absolutely have boundaries. No, shield is not the right word. Definitely have boundaries right now, particularly now, but you don't need that shield up that you did before. A lot of you had that shield up because you really had to protect that sensitive heart. Oh my goodness, you are so incredibly sensitive. Imagination is great. Your will is great too. Your sense of beauty, your sense of trust. I mean, it goes deep, but people took advantage, and it left you in certain areas of your life a little bit jaded. And then you turned that on yourself a little bit. And I totally understand that for somebody who is so open and so sensitive and so beautiful. I mean, even if you were like that as a child and then you were shut down, and then, the jadedness came because, you had to shut down to protect yourself. Whenever it happened, there was a little bit of shutting down. But this heart center here is absolutely you opening up in a brand new way and realizing the worth and absolutely everything, including yourself. But again, while your heart is reopening in this beautiful expansiveness, absolutely gorgeous. I'm so glad I got this. I painted this the other day and left it out in the rain. We had a huge rainstorm in Santa Fe, so it's a little bit, but this one's for you. This is your heart. So many layers, so many beautiful things. So you don't have to shield it, but definitely have those boundaries while it's expanding. So much beauty for you. I am so excited. So let's see here. Love. We've got some love cards. We've got some true love cards. Let's see what they reveal for you in the next 5 months. But the way in which you're expanding your heart, I can just feel it. I mean, it's undeniable. It fills a room. It's gorgeous. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it because I can totally feel it. Absolutely love that. All right, this one's speaking to me. Emotional freedom. Hello. I mean, that is absolutely gorgeous. So spirit animals coming into spirit guides coming in for you, thick and strong. It may not necessarily just be the owl, although a lot of you are attracted to the night energy right now. They do hold a lot of energy for you. The night, the moon cycles, and spirit guides coming out too, for you, whatever they are, whichever they are. For me, they can be spiders. Moths have been coming up for me too, to move from the darkness to the light. We have unicorns, could be it too. This also includes elementals, and because I definitely see this beautiful kind of quick firing energy. So some of you could have a lot of like fire in your chart, or elemental energy around you. But again, night stuff. For those of you where your cycle has sort of shifted and you're definitely more in the night cycle, I feel as though this is where your dreams are much more vivid. Your guides are speaking to you there, but there's something in the night energy, the moon energy, beautiful energy that's helping you expand and guiding you. Absolutely love that. To the emotional freedom, yes, as we talked about before, you had to shut down. Now, let's be honest, some of it was for protection. So however you handled your heart before was your own business. And there is absolutely no judgment here. There's never any judgment here, literally. But I feel as though now there's no need for that anymore. I feel as though this barbed wire has been taken off. For some of you, you had this warrior spirit really going out there. Again, I love the iconography of like the warrior spirit. But, we can go beyond warriorship. When you know your heart, you don't need to fight anymore. It just comes in through love. Now, I know that sounds a bit woo-woo, right? Bring back the 60s, but you're expanding your heart in such a way, you absolutely know that that's happening for you. So this is a process that could be taking over 5 months here. Now, you can be in different stages of this process, but I definitely feel this quickness of this energy. So you should be resonating with this, with the understanding of this sort of heart expansion coming in. So this is your emotionality coming in for the next 5 months. So let's see what we've got here. I'm loving this card for you, creation. Now, absolutely gorgeous, because what I saw for this too, for the 5 and the 1, I'm seeing the 6 here too. So working in groups, creativity, moving out of there. You've done a lot of work on your own. You are a little bit of a loner, pile 3. There's something, but you've used that in a way to sort of pull yourself out of the world a little bit. Again, no judgment. There's things that you felt like that's how you needed to heal. Absolutely do it. Go be you. But that's not who you are, and that's not what you're going to be doing now. So coming out of this sort of self-isolation, like literally self-imposed isolation, we had sort of a we have a imposed isolation, and you had a self-imposed isolation. So for those of you who are coming out of the self-imposed isolation with this emotional freedom, trusting again, having that beautiful expansiveness coming in, this real connection to creation here. We have a lot of what it is that you've done, fulfilled your karma. This is brand new. You've gone in there, and like a lot of those soul contracts, you've just gone in there and you've set them alight. You're done. You're not doing this anymore. You've gone through all that pain. You don't need to relive it. This expansion, this trust in yourself, and seeing the beauty in other people. You've been very highly, not just hard on yourself, but specifically pile 3, you really criticize yourself a lot. Even when you have this victory, it's never enough, this, that, and the other. But, is it good enough? Da, 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 da. You're not doing that anymore. This expansiveness is gorgeous. So you're not being critical of the world. That's another way that you did to protect yourself, because you self-isolated a lot. Sometimes you can use that criticism, that judgment, so you can keep yourself safe and then justify the self-isolation. But all of that's old. These shackles are coming off. You're creating in a brand new way. You're setting that light on fire. You're coming out this phoenix out of the ashes. It's beautiful. New karma, brand new karma. The people that you had in your life before, they've served their purpose. Now, some of them you may come back into contact with, and that'll be great. But the new karma that you will have when you come back in, the new connection, will be brand new. Absolutely brand new. So the creation is literally everything that you want. It'll be in your mind's eye. And again, the moon is here. The moon is here to remind you that moon magic, for those of you who do the ritual stuff, who love spell work. And again, for those of you who don't, that's totally fine. But spell work is just intention. So work with the moon's eye here. You have it here. You're working with intention in a very specific way. You're working with energy in a brand new creation. Anything is yours, literally. You can manifest it out of anywhere. Now, I feel as though when your heart was expanded before you shut it down, because you had to experience this way of coming into yourself, but also you had to protect yourself. You could actually come up with your mind's eye and create that, bring that in into the physical realm. You were able to manifest lightning fast, but you lost that ability a little bit because of you had to protect your heart. That vastness, that openness is now coming back in. So the way in which you create, man, it's going to be gorgeous. And again, we've got the 9, we've got the 6, we've got these odd numbers of feng shui coming up, working with others, working brand new ways, opening up, trusting. So your spirituality, what have we got here? Messenger, bringing harmony and balance. Yes, let's do one more. Absolutely bringing that balance back. That's what we said. Multifaceted, unique nature. Let yourself be seen. Perfect ending to this, right? Let yourself be seen in this new expansive light that you have, and bringing that balance back of the old and what did exist before, and allowing this expansiveness to bring you to a whole new level of creativity, emotional freedom, getting out into the world in a brand new way, exciting, beautiful energy, just dotting off, doing this elemental energy like fairies everywhere, and just accepting yourself on all levels. Another thing that will not be doing, because you're not criticizing yourself and others anymore. You are just really allowing yourself to get out there and see what happens. I feel as though a lot of you didn't want to make any mistakes, almost afraid to make mistakes. I don't have time to clear that up. So you just, there was a very specific way in which you moved in the world. You're just getting out there, and it might seem a little sloppy, but it's beautiful. And whatever grows from that, great. You'll take that from that. That didn't really work. That's great. We'll move on to that. The way in which you're working and creating and balancing and bringing your messages to the world is absolutely gorgeous and completely different. And that emotional freedom, I mean, the way in which you'll be creating, there's nothing that you cannot create. You'll be creating the way in which you created before, with ultimate freedom. This is an exciting 5 months for you. Whatever stage you are in, this is going to happen for you, Pile 3. I am so excited for you. Do feel free to comment if this resonated down below. Thumbs up, subscribe. Love to have you. Loving up on this energy right now. Sending so much love and light to you. Until we meet again, you take care, Pile 3. Bye-bye.